I am lonely, and I am not lonely. At one and the same time, I am lonely for humans, for human company I can feel safe with and genuinely accepted by, while at the same time feeling the presence and support and loving encouragement of that which others might refer to as spirit or the divine or the ancestors or the 5D soul family or the universe or something like that. More than I have ever felt before in this life. What is it that I want to call it? How do I want to describe it? It's funny, but it's only because I have sat down to write this that I realize I don't know what I want to call it. I observe others speak so confidently of things such as the angelic realms, the higher realms, the 5D, of God, of course, and so on and so forth. And here am I, the guy who presents himself as having so many answers about so many things regarding the reality of our existence as eternal truth in living iteration, suddenly feeling quite flummoxed and at a loss for suitable language. Language use is very important to me, and I'm always trying to keep the vocabulary I use as free from cultural terms as I can. And this generally comes easily enough to me. But this is because the majority of the time when I'm making videos like this, I am talking about things I feel really very clear about, for the most part. More than anything else, I talk about foundational truth. And I do kind of see myself as a metaphysical basement worker. Despite my being as amnesiac as we all are, I feel good about my language use choices when I'm talking about foundational truth, because I see and appreciate the simplicity of it all. But when it comes to talking about the highly complex and idiosyncratic outcomes of the simple truths, I need to make some language use choices because I want to talk about how I am feeling so supported by spirit right now. Only I don't really want to use that word because it means too many different things to too many different people. People of all persuasions talk with confidence of such things as the spirit realm, the etheric realm, the 5D, or simply the universe, but the universe in terms of the universe as a living intelligence. Light workers, God believers, occultists and mystics, sensitives of many flavors, referring to our guides, to our guardian angels, to our ancestors, to our soul family, to energies, to the Most High, and so on and so forth. Some of these people are conscious fakers, no doubt, but many of them are those who have a trust in their own sensitivity and intuition, and use language that makes sense to them to describe their own interpreting of these subtle energies they sense. I myself know full well, both from personal experience and as a result of logical deduction, that the field of existence is a living thing, a conscious thing, and a sensitive thing, on all levels, at all scales. And I know that there is not one of us who is not capable of using their intuition to interpret energies subtler than those our conventionally recognized 5 physical senses detect. So I can respect the interpretations of an intuitive, even when I don't necessarily resonate with the language they're using. What's more than this, I am aware that I can receive timely and insightful guidance from the message of the most cynical of conscious fakers. In the same way, I can receive guidance that is timely and helpful from the hearing of a random song in a certain moment, or seeing a certain bird just as I think a certain thought. Human culture is a dreadful thing, and human culture will seek to convince those that it can convince that this guide is trustworthy, while this guide is not. Human culture is forever putting the emphasis on who is the most reliable guide for you to turn to, because human culture wants you to believe it is your most reliable guide, rather than putting the emphasis on how you can go about being your own most reliable guide. I can tell us about foundational truth and foundational principles, and these foundational truths and principles are always relevant because they are always present and in effect. But the highly complex, subtle, and mysterious iteration of these foundational truths and principles are also always present and in effect. It is never only one or the other. It is always both. It is good to be confident about what you know you know. It is good to know when you cannot be fully certain. It is good to know when you definitely do not know. And no matter how relatively limited your awareness may be, and no matter how relatively expanded your awareness may be, there is always that which you know, that which you are unsure of, and that which you know you do not know. This is a foundational principle you can rely on. Anybody can sometimes be more correct than you. Nobody is always more correct than you about everything. Eternal awareness is as eternal awareness does. It knows what it knows, is unsure of what it is unsure of, And there is always, always, always more for it to know, because the infinite is as the infinite does. And when eternal truth in living iteration understands this about itself, it understands this about all the rest of itself. When you understand this about yourself, you understand this about all the rest of us. You understand this about all the rest of everything. If you wish for your God to be all-knowing in every possible way and entirely obsessed with you and your decisions, well, that's not a very nice thing for you to wish on your God. It's not a nice thing for you to wish on your God or on anybody. We are eternal truth in living iteration, and we are emergent from our shared living past, which is infinite, endless, and highly idiosyncratic, absolutely bursting with idiosyncratic personality. This is good for us, the eternal, because it provides all of that variety and surprise that keeps us from going insane with eternally unending sameness. And it can make it difficult for us sometimes to find and agree upon a common language with which to describe such great quantities of idiosyncrasy. I feel lonely here as a human amongst humans, only because all the humans here are amnesiac and fully loaded up with their cultural conditioning, which is the direct result of their own amnesia, while I have had enough of all of that. And I know I am not at all alone, because we are all here with me on all levels. Our shared living past is still here, as it always is, relentlessly giving birth to us all, moment on moment. Our higher awarenesses are all here, present and correct, as they always are, tingling away like our own personal spider sense. And those of us who are not currently incarnated in the physical are all here also, as they always are, having their opinions, wanting to have their say and their input, wanting to help. I can feel all kinds of lonely, but how shall I ever be alone when we are all always inescapably here together like this? On the human level, I feel as alone as can be right now. And yet, on the personal level, I feel the presence of Team Us right here with me, more strongly than I have ever felt it. Team Us is with me. And there is minimal cultural interference blocking us from each other. And what cultural interference there still is decreasing on a daily basis. So here I am, telling you that I feel more alone on the human level than I ever have before in this human life of mine, and yet less alone in terms of the more of us, the wider and the higher and the deeper of us. So what is it that I am talking about here? When I say that I am feeling deeply supported by the field of living truth in iteration that we are, how exactly is it that I am feeling supported and loved and encouraged by the field as I go through this period of isolation from my fellow humans? Well, firstly, I understand what my current isolation on the human level is all about. The entire human race is amnesiac right now. Amnesiac of our eternal past. I understand full well that there is no point in me taking it personally that you guys don't know how to relate to me. You know human culture. That is what you know. That is what we all know. And human culture is what we came up with as a result of our amnesia. Human culture keeps us in amnesia. Human culture is our amnesia. And what human culture says is me, me, me. Believe me. I am the one you should and must believe. Because look at how many others are believing me. That is your proof right there that you should believe me. This is how human culture works. And it makes no difference how little sense what it says makes, so long as enough other people are saying they believe. If human culture says there was a time when there was no time, and a place where there were no spatial dimensions, then we shrug and say, okay. If human culture says there is a creator God who loves and punishes us, we say, okay. If it tells us that gravity is brought about by undetectable quantum waves that bend spatial dimensions that are not made of anything, thereby causing small objects to fall to the ground and enormous objects to stay in the sky, okay. The motto of human culture is, I will believe anything, so long as enough other people are believing it. And if only one single person is saying something that makes irrefutable sense, the sense that it makes means nothing next to the fact that nobody else is saying it. And so, I don't take it personally. When you feel you can't take me seriously, because I understand just how much validation from human culture you feel you need. I understand how fearful you are of standing out from the crowd. To be rich while others are poor is a good thing? Okay. To be conspicuously rich while others starve is a very, very good and admirable thing. Okay. To make others poor is to be rich yourself. To hurt others is to bring pleasure to yourself. To imprison others is to be free yourself. To make others lose is to win yourself. To deceive others is to know the truth yourself. To hate others is to love yourself. To kill others is to live yourself. To cast magic is to not be mundane yourself. To sacrifice others is to not be sacrificed yourself. To laugh at others is to be taken seriously yourself. To make others low is to be high yourself. To isolate others is to be in good company yourself. To have contempt for others is to be respected yourself. To fool others is to not be a fool yourself. To paint others as idiotic is to be wise yourself. To curse others is to be blessed yourself. To damn others to hell is to secure heaven for yourself. Okay. 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 I understand it is pointless for me to take any of this personally. And in the face of all of this, I understand why you should find it difficult to take me seriously when I tell you that I know myself to be supported by the field, the greater field that we are all a living part of. But I will tell you anyway. There are two sides to my understanding that I am currently supported by the field. There is the simple, foundational knowledge I have about how reality works that does not agree with human culture, but does make perfect sense. And then there is my personal experience of my whole life in general and of the past few years in particular. I'll tell you about my experiences first. My journey of the past few years has been one of listening to both my intuition and my reason, my heart and my mind. My heart tells me to believe in people. My mind tells me not to. Most of the time these days, it tells me not to. My heart is fully correct, and so is my mind. Our self-polarization, which is the result of our amnesia and the human culture it has produced, is the separating out of our heart and our mind, our intuition and our reason, what we feel and what we think. Enlightenment, awakening, ascension is when we reconcile this polarization between heart and mind. Reconciliation is integration, where polarization is a split, a division between the two halves of a whole, a division that sets one half against the other. Reconciliation is the integration of these two halves into one cohesive whole. Shadow and light are not two opposing systems. They are two aspects of the one same system. Shadow and light are not against each other. They are because of each other. You can comprehend the pure and simple sense in this. Shadow and light are because of each other. One cannot exist without the other. This is as simple and obvious and true as can be. When I watched that video back in 2019, the one that told me that our mathematicians have not agreed upon what the word number means, but that the prevailing official wisdom is that numbers are subjective extensions of human concepts. It was my mind that was startled and said, No, that is not right. Numbers are subjective. Well, no, numbers are not subjective. That idea is about as wrong as can possibly be. Our great mathematicians think it is so? Well, fuck. Our great mathematicians are just about as patently wrong as can be. There's nothing that could be more clear and obvious than this. I myself am no mathematician. If anything, I have as big an aversion to modern mathematics as the aversion I have always had to the Bible. But the simpler a subject is, the clearer and more confident is my mind, my sense of reason on that subject. And the definition of the word number is as simple and foundational an aspect of mathematics as mathematics gets. So, despite how many mathematicians might be prepared to say otherwise, and despite how acclaimed they might be, how fully endorsed by official and established wisdom they all might be, my mind was perfectly willing to say, that is bullshit. That is completely wrong. What the fuck is the matter with everybody? What the fuck is the matter with everybody? This was the great question in my mind then. And it is the great question that should rightfully be in the forefront of all of our minds today. If you have never had this question at the forefront of your mind, I encourage you strongly to bring this question to the forefront of your mind right now and try it on for size. What the fuck is the matter with everybody? Try it now. Bring that question to the forefront of your mind now and hold it there and see how it feels to hold that question in the forefront of your mind. What the fuck is the matter with everybody? It is a good question to hold at the forefront of your mind right now. What the fuck is the matter with everybody? It is a good question for you to ask yourself. It is an appropriate question for you to ask yourself right now, in the face of the current state of humanity. And it is a refreshing antidote to the question human culture is constantly encouraging you to ask yourself, which is, what the fuck is the matter with me? I'm not saying it is never a good idea to ask, what the fuck is the matter with me? But you have asked that question far too much. And you have asked, what the fuck is the matter with all of us, far too little. Our great mathematicians have persuaded themselves and each other that numbers are subjective. What the fuck is the matter with our great mathematicians? And what the fuck is the matter with all of us that we shrug and say, okay? I encourage you to ask this question and to feel the cleansing sanity of asking yourself this question. It is a healing question for us all to ask of ourselves. What the fuck is the matter with us all? It is a healing question to ask. give yourself permission to ask it. Human culture does not want you to ask this question, because to ask what the fuck is the matter with us all is to ask what the fuck is the matter with human culture. And the main answer to the question, what the fuck is the matter with us all, is human culture is what the fuck is the matter with us all. So back in 2019, my mind was startled into asking this healing question, and asking it strongly. And so, without me realizing it consciously at the time, my healing began. My healing from the ravages of human culture. Now, for me to tell you all of this, as it took place for me on the mental level, is quite a straightforward thing for me to present in a straightforward and lucid and reasonable way, because it deals with rationality, with reason, the reasoning of my mind. It is clear and reasonable and self-sustaining. You can listen back over it and follow the simple logic of it. Recognize that it is clear and does not contradict itself. But what of my heart? What of my intuition? What of my feelings in all of this over the past few years? The healing of my mind is one thing, but what of the integration of heart and mind that I have been referring to? How has my healing on this front gone for me? And how straightforward for me can it be to describe that which is more subjective to me than the relatively cut and dried reasoning processes I have just described? The short answer to this is that I am not going to be able to talk about my intuitive and heartfelt connection to and communication with the greater field as precisely and succinctly as I have talked about the reasoning processes of my mind. It's good for me to say this up front. It's good for me to not expect too much of myself or of you on this front. There is that which is foundationally simple and true. And this is easily felt and expressed by both the heart and mind. And then there are the highly complex, subtle and mysterious iterations of those foundationally simple truths, and how these are felt and expressed by the heart and mind. Well, it's just not so simple, for reasons that are simple and obvious. And this is where intuition comes in. Existence exists. Foundational truths iterate at all scales of complexity, at all scales of resolution of definition, from the fundamentally simple to the highly complex levels of human operation and perception, and beyond that, to higher and higher levels of complexity, to ever increasingly subtle and mysterious levels of resolution. And all of these levels of iteration take place within the very same three spatial dimensions as each other, and at the very same time as each other. Within the confines of self-polarized human culture, those that are mystically or spiritually oriented can have a tough time relating to the cold, hard logicism of the scientifically oriented. And those who are scientifically oriented can have an even harder time relating to mysticism and spirituality. What sets me apart from pretty much everybody else throughout human history, is that I diverge from human culture. And it is only in diverging from human culture that I have come to understand the very fundamentals of mathematics better than our mathematicians, the very fundamentals of physics better than our physicists, and the very fundamentals of mysticism and spirituality better than our religions and occult traditions. Why should this be? Above all other factors, it is because I do not burden myself with human culture. Nobody that is excessively burdened with human culture is allowed by human culture to understand the most fundamental, foundational truths of reality. Because human culture is our historical answer to not understanding the most fundamental truths of reality. And human culture is forever in the pursuit of its own furtherance, never in pursuit of being corrected. Am I saying that I understand every highly complex, subtle and mysterious thing under the sun? No, I'm not. Far, far from it. I'm saying I'm a basement worker who knows how the boiler works in a world that does not tolerate basement workers who know how the boiler works. This is what I am saying. There are countless people in this world that do understand highly complex things that I do not understand. Highly complex things that have a great deal of truth to them. But none of these people have a true foundational understanding of these highly complex things that they understand, and that they would understand so very, very much better if they did have that foundational understanding. And so, I communicate with my higher self and with the greater field at large, as best I can, for myself, as a fledgling basement worker who understands the fundamental principles he is working with and by. I pay attention to all aspects of the field as best I can, understanding that there is no such thing in the field of existence as randomness. There is no such thing as true randomness. There is only that which is beyond our powers to predict by calculation, and we call that random. But the living unified field of truth in iteration, that is our existence, is entirely and intimately interconnected. It just is. And not knowing this, or point blank refusing to accept it, does not in any way stop it from being true. You can call random coincidence all day long, every day, for the rest of your life. And this will not change the fact that there is no such thing as true randomness anywhere in all eternity. Does this mean I can ask my higher self which numbers are going to win the lottery? Yes, it does. Does this mean my higher self will tell me the correct numbers? Not necessarily. No. I am confident that my working relationship with my higher self is coherent enough these days that if she wanted me to win the lottery, she would be able to tell me that and then provide me with the numbers. I'm totally confident of that. She just hasn't wanted to do that so far. And I really am feeling so held and supported by my higher self and the greater field at large. I have no complaints about this. The only reason I no longer have the question, what the fuck is the matter with everybody, in the forefront of my mind, is because I know full well what is the matter with everybody. I don't even need to ask that question anymore. And this is why I do not take any of it personally. My work of the past several years is heavily suppressed online. Yes, of course it is. What came as a shock to me when I first realized it to be the case now only serves as a confirmation to me. People from my own personal life who told me they truly saw me and truly loved me actually, actively, consciously and willfully betrayed me in collaboration with each other? Yes, of course they did. How shall those who are not able to admit their own self-betrayal to themselves ever going to admit their betrayal of me to me? Nobody in this world who does see the worth of my work seems ready, willing and able, at least so far as I am allowed to discern under the current restrictions that are in place online, to champion me with a passion? Of course, of course, of course. How are they meant to have such courage as that? And even if they do, how are any of the rest of us going to be allowed to hear about it? I can complain about you guys being under the influence of human culture, or I can feel good about myself that I am not. I prefer the second option. Take my hand, leave behind all this resistance. Take my hand, I'll lead you to a new existence. Take my hand, I'll show you what can make a difference. Take my hand, baby, take my hand. Tired of the sad confusion. I know you have had enough of this illusion. I know you are looking for a new infusion. I know you, baby, I know you. Come with me, it's only scary 'cause it's so new. Come with me, the thing is that it's so old to. Come with me, can you remember what you once knew? Come with me, baby, come with me. There's a way you make it all worthwhile for me. There's a way you fit right into the dreams I see. There's a way we'll make it how we want it to be. There's a way, baby, there's a way. Bet you have to lose, come and see. We've had our fill with all the old rules, come and see. Believe me that you are free to choose, come and see. Baby, come and see. What you say? We'll have some children, share some meals. What you say? Live by the truth, see how it feels. What you say? We'll work out what best appeals. What you say? Baby, what you say? Take my hand, I know you. Come with me, there's a way. Come and see what you say. Take my hand, baby, take my hand. I know you. Baby, I know you. Come with me. Baby, come with me. There's a way. Baby, there's a way. Come and see. Baby, come and see. What you say. Baby, what you say. Baby, what you say.